Good morning, good afternoon, what's up and what it do? This is Thrive, Don't Just Survive VanLife, and my name is James Anderson. I would like to take a second, a time, a chance to introduce myself and let you know what it do with me. Kind of why I'm here, where I came from, why I'm specifically in Washington, and for the most part, a feeling got reiterated to me. For the most part, that would be why I do this. Why do I truly choose to live in a van? Why do I truly choose to be the only one in my family that is in Washington? What propels me to go forward? And right now, I do this for my family. I do this for my sister. In 2000, I got a sister, 18 months older than me, younger brother, 18 months younger than me. And in 2012, I remember speaking to my sister around June. And, it was a simple situation to where she was pregnant. She was having a rough time in Texas. She needed a little bit of help in a situation like that, and I ended up, trying to give her some motivation, some good words or whatever. And for the most part, she took what I said, kept living. What I had, November hit, and November, December time period hit, and I realized that for the most part, she in the hospital. She just had a miscarriage. I just lost my nephew. She just lost her child. And now she in a coma. To have that feeling at the end of 2012, it's like I couldn't appreciate shit. Like, it just switched up everything right around, the holiday period. So my birthday, January 28th, and not to be able to afford certain things to go down there and check on her and everything like that, that made me feel a certain way. I remember I was working at a uh, at a dispensary in Tacoma, Red Emperor Collective. Yeah, it was off down by Sprague area. And either way, it's like you go through so much for so many reasons, and then you get to the point where you reflect. It's like, did I actually get that? Did I actually do anything? Did I make my time valuable? Did I spend my time wisely? So it just got to the point where going through that situation, and she came out of the coma, and she came out of the coma about 2 months later, and just for the most part, you know, to see my sister like that. I remember when I went to go see her for the first time, and she was sitting next to this guy that had like the little tube in his neck. And I tell everybody this story, so I mean, whatever for the pity points, this is just what it is. This is telling the same story I've told to many individuals, giving it to the world and let it do what it do. But yeah, I just remember sitting or standing next to her, and she was down, like my hand was out. And she was down sitting over there. So my left hand was up. And I was just talking to her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I ain't seen her in a while. And she say she gonna move my she gonna move my arm. She say she say, nigga, you funky. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm back in Texas. To start to realize certain tendencies, certain, you know, um, characteristics or certain smells, attitudes, fucking thoughts, all that, certain things that come out of you at certain points, certain areas. It's like, is it good or is it bad? So yeah, definitely me being in Texas. One of the reasons why I don't like it down there is because I sweat too easy, and yeah, it's a raw ass smell. So that's just what it do. But like I say, I'm from Texas, born and raised for the most part in Texas City, Texas. Excuse me. It's been an interesting run. I decided to come up to I decided to stay in Washington after I got out of the military in 2009, around November, I believe. And man, I was doing, yeah, it was interesting. All these type of little activities and things I went through throughout the years to get to this point, and then for the latter years to mean so much because of the reflection, of my actions. It's not necessarily so, monetarily big, or, trying to get a bunch of this and that or whatever. It's just, from the core piece of it, live an easy life and take care of your family. I just, to gather and to receive the reflection that you didn't do a good job or you could have done better. That's just what it was, just a reflection. So let's see, how did I end up in the van? Like, yeah, I joined the military. I got out. I only stayed in a little over 2 years, I believe. 2 years, 8 months, something like that. And yeah, I just decided to stay in Washington, but I couldn't afford things, and situations kept getting to me. I remember one situation I came to where I owed basically I thought I was gonna get a tax return, and $895. I thought I was about to get that for a tax return. I was gonna be able to use that to help pay my rent, and then all of a sudden it got taken quick. I ain't had no money, and the reason why it got taken because I owed a balance from my credit card, or actually from my uniforms and my equipment from the military, with the military, whatever. Yeah, they did a switch up to where a lot of my stuff got sent down range when I was in, anticipating getting deployed. But things switched up and I got out of there. So either way, it's like I decided to stay up here, make an easy life. I just realized how accessible things were. And maybe that was, one of the crutches, because down in Texas and all that, yeah, I smoked weed and that was all regular, Shit, usually, I was kind of Hasidic. I always stayed with weed. That's just what it was. And I end up, like, you'll have $20 grams. So I was one of the ones in my own head, I always stay with $20 grams, like, instead of going and buying swag and shit. Of course, I smoked it, but I hated that shit, so that's just what it was, trying to elevate and just do better. I remember right out of high school, right getting into college, I was listening, or actually I went online. I went on the computer and I went to Smoker's Guide to Amsterdam. So it was smokersguide.com, and just read reviews and shit like that about different weeds or whatever. So in a sense, that's actually where my nickname came from, a part of it. And I found one draw on there because I was just like, let me come up with a nickname. Let me pick one of these names that kind of look interesting. And then I end up looking at Katsu Special. So I was like, okay. I looked at that and it sounded interesting. The characteristics and the smell, all that shit seemed cool. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take Katsu and I'm gonna put with Dro, because all I smoke is hydroponics. The shit with no seeds and shit. So it's always that type of stuff costs a little bit more down in Texas when I was coming up a little bit younger or whatever. So for the most part, man, yeah, $20 grams. It's like I get to get back and give back now, because in my future, from my past, I grow marijuana. I took 10 years, continuously trying to figure out and reading and trying to understand and putting together things in my mind. I came up short for so long, and not actually have an opportunity to make things happen and to prove if I ever knew, or if I ever could knew, or get things right. But my last 3 rotations, perfect. Increasing levels of understanding, and then it's going to continue to get better. So it gave me enough material to where I got about a little under 1,300 videos, pictures type of situation. I'm gonna start processing that soon, and then I'll be posting that on my other YouTube channel called Lee's Garden. So for the most part, yeah, my name is James Anderson. My nickname is Super Shane Lee. You can check out my Instagram, and all I'm gonna do is just keep my YouTube together and expand that. But yeah, Super Shane Lee. I'll tell you how I acquired that nickname for myself. Just like Katsudro was something I made in 2005 or 6, So I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know how it was going to get accomplished, but I knew what I wanted to do, and that's kind of what I set out to do. So this is what I'm doing. I still got plans for, bigger things. but I understand that nothing is limited by what I guess, yeah, about what I don't know. I was about to say some dumb shit, but either way, it's, it's just nothing is limited. Like, I feel like I can do a lot of things, and that's why I was able to say yes to a few things when some other folks said no, and then that put me in a certain position. So right now I'm in a position of not having to worry about nothing and just being comfortable. I'm working on, just not worrying about what I'm worrying about. I really don't know exactly what I'm worrying about. And actually, I'm worried about not being ready for situations when they come up. And if anything happened to my sister, and then if anything happened to my mother, to know I'm gonna have to leave Washington and go down to Texas and take care of things, like, I just don't know how I would feel if I didn't have certain levels of things accomplished. So that was always the goal, to stay up here and get that done, and then also to prove that I could do it. So along that way, in dealing with that in 2012, it came up a situation to where, without a lot of sun up here, it was a high suicide rate, and with just with some out of luck situations, and living in messed up areas, and just possibly putting yourself into fucked up situations without you even knowing. I think that's probably what I end up doing. Then I got attracted to it and got swallowed up in it and tried to get myself out. And it took years, and I had to keep my head above the despair, line or whatever. So I just ended up coming to a situation to where, like, either kill yourself or you can live. So what you gonna do? What does living look like? What does death look like? And I tried to, in my own way, do some research. So I went to the best place that I could go for research at the time on, possibly what would happen or possibly what could happen, if I was to kill myself or if I was just to live. So I came across, I can't remember which one I dove into first. Probably what would happen if, what happens after life. I probably went to the death side first to see what would happen, since I'm already living and I already feel, a certain way. But when I looked into, should I kill myself or should I live, or or I don't know. Like I say, I went to the best source I could find at the time, and that was YouTube. So I found these two brothers that was talking about the Bible, and a lot of stuff that they were saying and the way that they was explaining it made sense to me. So I just kept listening on that one, and then I just went to other things beyond that, and then I guess just kept listening, and that kind of put me in a little rabbit hole. I remember that was probably from probably 2014 until the present, for the most part. But yeah, it was interesting. I think also 2011 I started some type of looking into just different ideas. So it just gave a whole lot of thought to even more situations of, like, hold on, this might not be this, and this might not be this, and you probably thought that was, and they probably tricked you, and you was like, man, hold up. And I was like, I don't know. So overall, with that point of I don't know, that's where it came to, really reflect and, offer up a thought of change. But I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, I guess simple stuff. What I want to start doing is explaining and talking and sharing my ideas and my thoughts and my mind and my life, and just how, for my own thought process, how I took a 1-year goal and achieved it in 6 months. You don't know what you don't know, so I'm always searching for new things to learn, and ways to implement, and set myself up to be okay and take care of my family. And just that whole route has just been very interesting. And like I say, with having a situation with my sister, it causes me to get emotional and uncontrollable tears and whatever else. But overall, I got better at controlling that, and I started to get emotionally, kind of struck with that feeling a whole lot less. So I thought it was due to the books. So for the last couple years, I've been listening probably per week on a low average. I probably stopped. Right around November. I kind of tapered it off because I stopped working in December at my main 40-hour week job. There's just constant rotation. And at that side of the last 5 months before I finished up, I was working over 60 hours a week, it felt like. Some hours, 70, whatever. I was driving, 200 miles a day or more. So that put a whole lot of weight on my stomach. And at the same time, I put some more weight on my mind and continued to listen. I started listening even more and more and more at, the jobs where I had just the same routine, same boringness. If I can listen to music, I can listen to books. And then from listening to music all the time and gaining that certain flow of words and everything, anybody can recite that. But to kind of absorb the flow of a book and to be able to recite it, and I can understand the difference now of like being able to recite something in your mind in the book form is it's I kind of forgot what I was trying to say, but it's just a different type of reflection. It's a different type of feedback, because you can absorb a song and that won't really, to me, in my own opinion, but that won't really do too much. But the way that my life is going and my direction is going and my feelings and the potential and the understanding has risen from just acquiring hours instead of minutes. If you program yourself to hours instead of minutes, you'll gain more. If you figure out a way to give to others without it feeling like you're taking from yourself, you'll gain more. And when I started to realize that I was doing that, I ended up saying that because that was, like, in a sense, the most concise way that I could figure to capture what I was doing or what I was giving myself. So I just kept going and kept going. And, literally when you figure out a way to give to others without it feeling like you're taking from yourself, you'll gain more. And one of the major ways that I like to speak, not necessarily major ways I like to speak, but major reasons I like to speak to other people when I'm out and I'm talking and I'm walking. I work security right now, but, when I'm all out there, it's interesting and it's entertaining and it's fulfilling for me to be able to record new material, because you never forget anything that you hear. So, when you get to a certain point, it's like the next thing that you need to hear is yourself. So I just started to realize that some of the thinking that I was doing was unique or, not necessarily a one-off. Because when you do something and it's everybody reacting, it's cool, then it's cool. But when you get so many reactions and you still ain't done with it or done nothing with it and you almost damn near perfect, you feeling good, you feeling perfect. It's like you got to figure out a way to share that. So I always sensed it when I was younger that, I would get rich if I sold a product or something like that. And, I don't know what's my major delay on achieving certain things that probably wouldn't even be having me feeling like this. But I do know what's my major factor and why I'm attempting to do something like this and share and open up and let y'all know and let y'all just, absorb or hear, some of the paths I take or some of the paths I've taken. So, you can possibly benefit. Because first you can hear me. And then if you go to the next step and able to do what I say, then you can listen. And then if you're able to listen, you're able to realize and you're able to reflect. If you're able to realize and reflect, you limitless, So I just appreciate you listening if you is, and if you get to the end of it, it's all good. But man, just stay positive. And I'm gonna tell more bits and pieces of, my story and my understanding. I got two kind of like not necessarily podcasts, but two segmented pieces that I'm gonna start in my van. And like I said, this is the office, so I gotta stay woke and, in a sense, not be no bitch. So that entails, trying to be real, trying to continue to share with others. And, if I see somebody could use an idea, give it to them. And, You know, not one person that I really gone up to and talked. Even like earlier, I talked to a young lady, and then I talked to another lady that works here, one of my coworkers type of situation, and you know, not one of them in a sense be like, "Hey, come talk to me." Like they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what I know. So it's just like when I'm able to just go talk to somebody